stopping completely as her brain tried to make sense of what her eyes were seeing. Her vintage 1965 Mercedes-Benz, the silver beauty her grandfather had restored with his own hands before he passed, was engulfed in flames. Orange and red tongues of fire licked up from the hood, consuming the leather interior she could see through the shattered windows. Black smoke billowed into the evening sky, creating a dark cloud that seemed to swallow the last rays of sunset. But that wasn't the most unsettling part. The most unsettling part was her husband, Trevor, standing 15 feet from the inferno with his arms crossed over his chest, watching the destruction with something that looked disturbingly close to satisfaction. His face was illuminated by the flickering flames, and in that orange glow, Naomi saw a stranger. The man she'd married 5 years ago would have been panicking, calling 911, grabbing the fire extinguisher from the garage. This man was calm. Too calm. Almost pleased. Trevor? Her voice came out smaller than she intended. What happened? He turned to her slowly and she caught it, just a flash before he arranged his features into concern. Smugness. He'd been smug. Naomi, thank God you're home. I came out and found it like this. I already called the fire department. As if on cue, sirens wailed in the distance, growing closer. Neighbors emerged from their houses, phones out, capturing the scene. The Johnsons from next door rushed over, offering help. Mrs. Chin from across the street brought bottles of water. Everyone was moving, talking, surrounding them with concern and questions. But Naomi couldn't stop staring at her husband's hands. They were clean. Too clean. He'd supposedly just discovered a car fire, tried to help, but there wasn't a spot of soot on him. His expensive shirt was pristine. His shoes weren't scuffed from running. The fire truck arrived, followed by 2 police cars. Firefighters jumped into action, aiming heavy streams of water at her grandfather's car. The hissing sound of water meeting fire filled the air. Steam rose in ghostly clouds. Naomi watched her past, her memories, her connection to the man who'd raised her after her parents died, all of it being drowned and destroyed simultaneously. Ma'am, I'm Captain Rodriguez. A firefighter approached her, his face serious behind the shield of his helmet. Is this your vehicle? Yes. Was my grandfather's. He restored it himself. Her voice cracked on the last word. I'm very sorry. Do you have any idea how this might have started? Had you driven it recently? Any mechanical issues? I've been away on business for 3 days. The car was fine when I left. It was parked in the driveway, locked, alarm set. Naomi wrapped her arms around herself, suddenly cold despite the heat radiating from the dying fire. We'll need to investigate, Captain Rodriguez said gently. The burn pattern is unusual. We'll have an inspector here in the morning. Trevor stepped forward, placing a hand on Naomi's shoulder. She fought the urge to shrug it off. Officer, is there anything we need to do tonight? My wife's obviously in shock. The way he said my wife made her skin crawl. Like she was a possession. Like the car had been. Something he could destroy when it suited him. A police officer took their statements. Trevor explained that he'd come home from work, saw smoke and called 911 immediately. He was convincing. He'd always been good at lying, she was just now realizing how good. Naomi gave her statement mechanically, her mind racing through the past few months, recontextualizing every strange moment, every off conversation, every time Trevor had criticized her success or made snide comments about her showing off with the vintage car. As the firefighters finished dousing the flames, Naomi noticed movement down the street. A black sedan was parked 3 houses down, engine running. She couldn't see through the tinted windows, but something made her step closer, squinting through the smoky air. The window rolled down just an inch, just enough for Naomi to see her. Brittany Henderson, Trevor's secretary. Their eyes met for a single, electric second. Then the window rolled up and the car pulled away, tires squealing slightly in what might have been panic. Naomi's blood turned to ice in her veins. Brittany, here, watching. On a Thursday evening when she should have been anywhere else. On the same evening Naomi's most precious possession burned to ashes. Did you see that? She asked the officer next to her. See what, ma'am? The car was already gone, disappeared around the corner. Nothing. Never mind. But it wasn't nothing. Naomi's mind was connecting dots at lightning speed. Trevor's late nights at work. His new obsession with privacy, password protecting everything. The way he'd been pushing her to add his name to more of her business accounts. His sudden interest in her company's finances. The questions about her grandfather's estate. The firefighters declared the scene safe but told them the car was a total loss. Most of the frame remained, a blackened skeleton of what had once been a beautiful machine. The leather seats were gone. The dashboard melted. The trunk, where she kept her grandfather's old toolbox and some of his personal papers, was nothing but charred metal. "We'll have someone here at 8 tomorrow morning to investigate," Captain Rodriguez told them. "Don't touch anything until then. This is officially a potential crime scene until we rule out arson." Trevor's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. If Naomi hadn't been watching him like a hawk, she would have missed it. But she was watching. She was seeing everything now with new eyes. The neighbors eventually dispersed. The emergency vehicles left. The street returned to its usual quiet suburban peace, except for the acrid smell of burnt rubber and melted metal hanging in the air. Trevor tried to put his arm around her. "Come inside. You need rest. I know how much that car meant to you, but it's just a thing. We can get another one. What matters is we're safe." Just a thing. Her grandfather's legacy. The car he'd taught her to drive in. The vehicle she'd promised him she'd cherish forever. Just a thing. Naomi looked at her husband, really looked at him, and felt the foundation of her life crack and crumble beneath her feet. She'd built a marriage, a home, a partnership with this man. She trusted him with her business, her finances, her heart. And he was a stranger. Worse than a stranger. He was an enemy wearing the mask of a lover. "I need to shower," she said quietly, pulling away from his touch. "And then I have some work calls to make." "Work calls? Naomi, it's almost 9 at night and you just experienced a trauma. Let work wait." There it was again. That edge in his voice when he talked about her work. That resentment he'd been trying to hide but was now seeping through the cracks. "My business doesn't wait for convenient times, Trevor. You know that." She walked into their house, climbed the stairs to their bedroom, and locked herself in the bathroom. Only then did she let herself shake. Only then did she pull out her phone and start making notes. Times. Dates. Strange occurrences. She texted her best friend and business partner, Rochelle. "Emergency. Car burned. Trevor. I'll explain tomorrow. Don't trust anyone." The response came back in seconds. "I'm here. Whatever you need." Naomi looked at herself in the mirror. Her face was streaked with soot and tears she didn't remember crying. Her eyes were red. Her hair was disheveled. But underneath the shock and grief, something else was forming. Something hard and determined. If Trevor thought burning her grandfather's car would break her, he was about to learn a very expensive lesson. Naomi Brooks hadn't built a multi-million-dollar tech company by being weak. She'd survived losing her parents at 16, raised by a grandfather who taught her that strength came from standing up when life knocked you down. She'd fought off hostile takeovers, sexist investors, and corporate sharks who thought she'd be easy prey because she was a young black woman in tech. A cheating husband who committed arson? She'd faced worse. As she stood there, wet from the shower, wrapped in a towel, Naomi made a decision. She wouldn't cry. She wouldn't beg. She wouldn't try to fix a marriage that was clearly broken beyond repair. Instead, she'd do what she did best. Gather data, form a strategy, and execute it flawlessly. Trevor had just made the biggest mistake of his life. He'd underestimated her. He thought she was devastated and vulnerable. He thought he'd destroyed something irreplaceable and left her weakened. He had no idea what he'd actually done. That car's trunk had held more than just her grandfather's toolbox. Hidden in a locked compartment, there were journals, original documents, patent papers, things her grandfather had told her were safer in a car than in a house, where thieves would look. Things Trevor had been asking about subtly for months. Those journals contained her grandfather's handwritten notes on the technology patents that had made their family wealthy, patents that were about to expire, allowing her to file for extensions with original documentation of the innovation process. Documentation that was now ash. Or was it? Naomi's mind raced. Her grandfather had been paranoid about losing things. He'd always kept backups. Always. Where would he have put digital copies? Who would have them? She grabbed her phone and dialed her grandfather's old attorney, not caring that it was late. Bernard Winters answered on the third ring. "Naomi? It's late. Is everything all right?" "Mr. Winters, I need to know. My grandfather's journals and patent documentation. Did he ever make copies? Digital scans? Anything?" There was a pause. "He did." "What? What's happened?" Naomi's grip tightened on her phone. "Someone just burned down my car. The car where I kept the original documents. Dear God. Naomi, who would do such a thing?" She closed her eyes. "I have my suspicions. But right now, I need to know those documents still exist somewhere." "They do. Your grandfather had me scan everything 20 years ago. The files are in my office safe and backed up to a secure server. But Naomi, if someone destroyed your car to get those documents, you might be in danger. I don't think they were after the documents. I think they just wanted to hurt me. She paused, then added, but that's even worse, isn't it? Yes, Bernard said gravely. It is. What do you need from me? Everything. Every backup. Every scan. And I need the name of the best divorce attorney in the state. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Then, I'll have a name for you by morning. And Naomi? Be careful. People who commit arson are capable of worse. So am I, Mr. Winters, Naomi said softly. So am I. She hung up and sat on the edge of the bathtub, her mind already 10 steps ahead. Trevor thought he'd won something tonight. He thought he'd put her in her place, destroyed something she loved, taught her a lesson about getting too successful, too independent, too much. He'd lit a match tonight, thinking he was burning her past. Instead, he'd ignited something much more dangerous, her future. And he was going to burn in it. Morning light filtered through the bedroom curtains, revealing the full extent of yesterday's destruction. From the second-floor window, Naomi could see the charred remains of her grandfather's Mercedes in the driveway, looking even worse in daylight. The silver paint had bubbled and peeled away, exposing blackened metal underneath. The tires were melted pools of rubber on the concrete. It looked like a war casualty. Trevor was already up, which was unusual. He typically slept until his alarm forced him out of bed at 7:30. But this morning at 6:15 she could hear him downstairs, talking in hushed tones. She moved quietly to the bedroom door and opened it just a crack. I don't know what she suspects. No, she seemed shocked. Yes, I'm sure. Look, just lay low for a few days. Don't come to the office. Don't call me. I'll figure this out. Brittany. He was talking to Brittany. Naomi pulled her phone from the nightstand and hit record, capturing the tail end of the conversation. I said I'd handle it, didn't I? Just trust me. Everything's going according to plan. Once the divorce goes through, we'll have enough to start over somewhere nice. Maybe Barbados like we talked about. But you have to be patient. Divorce. The word hung in the air like poison gas. So he was planning to leave her. No, not just leave. Strategically dismantle her life so he could run away with his secretary to a tropical paradise funded by Naomi's hard work. She stopped recording and immediately forwarded the file to her private email, then to Rochelle, then to a cloud storage service. Triple backup. Her grandfather had taught her that. Never keep your ammunition in just one place. The doorbell rang at precisely 8 o'clock. The fire inspector had arrived, along with 2 police officers. Naomi dressed quickly in jeans and a simple blouse, pulling her hair into a ponytail. She looked at herself in the mirror and practiced the expression, shocked, grieving, but holding it together. Not too emotional. Not too composed. Just right. Trevor was already at the door, playing the concerned husband. Officers, thank you for coming. My wife's still pretty shaken up. Mrs. Brooks? A woman in an inspector's uniform extended her hand. I'm Fire Inspector Janet Reeves. I'll be examining your vehicle today. Do you have a few minutes to answer some questions? Of course. Whatever you need. They walked outside together. The smell of burnt materials was even stronger in daylight. Inspector Reeves circled the car slowly, taking photographs, making notes. She knelt by the front bumper, examining something closely. Mrs. Brooks, when was the last time you drove this vehicle? Sunday afternoon. I drove it to lunch with my business partner, then parked it in the driveway when I got home around 3. On Monday morning, I left for a business trip to Atlanta. I just got back last night around 7:30. And the car stayed parked here the entire time you were gone? Yes. We have a 2-car garage, but I usually park the Mercedes in the driveway. It's a nice car. I like seeing it. Inspector Reeves nodded, scribbling notes. Your husband was home during this time? Trevor stepped forward. I was. But I didn't notice anything wrong with the car until I came home from work yesterday and saw the smoke. What time was that? Around 6:45. I work until 6, then it's about a 30-minute drive home. Inspector Reeves exchanged glances with one of the police officers. Mr. Brooks, can you tell me where you work? Brooks Digital Solutions. It's my wife's company actually. I'm the operations manager. Another note. Another exchanged glance. Naomi's stomach tightened. They were seeing something she wasn't seeing yet, and whatever it wasn't good for Trevor. The inspector moved to the driver's side and pointed to something on the ground. Mrs. Brooks, do you see this? Naomi looked down. There was a pattern on the concrete, a splash mark spreading out from under the car door. That's an accelerant pour pattern. Someone doused this car in lighter fluid or gasoline before igniting it. This wasn't an electrical fire or an accident. This was deliberate arson. The words hung in the morning air. Trevor's face went pale. That's insane. Who would do something like that? That's what we need to find out. The police officer spoke for the first time. Mr. Brooks, you said you discovered the fire around 6:45? That's right. And you called 911 immediately? Yes, of course. The officer consulted his phone. According to our records, the 911 call came in at 7:02. That's 17 minutes after you say you discovered the fire. Trevor blinked. Maybe I got the time wrong. It all happened so fast. 17 minutes is a long time to wait when something is burning, Mr. Brooks. I tried to put it out first, with the garden hose. But it wasn't working, so I called for help. Inspector Reeves walked over to the garden hose, coiled neatly on its holder by the garage door. She touched the nozzle, then turned it on. Water flowed clear and steady. She turned it off and returned, making another note. The hose is completely dry, Mr. Brooks. If you'd used it recently, there would still be moisture in the line and on the ground where you sprayed. Naomi watched her husband's face cycle through emotions: panic, anger, calculation. He was searching for an explanation, a lie that would work. But he was running out of options. I must be confused. Like I said, it was chaotic. Maybe I didn't use the hose. Maybe I just called 911 right away. Maybe, the officer said in a tone that clearly meant he didn't believe a word. Mr. Brooks, we're going to need you to come down to the station to give a formal statement. Am I under arrest? No, sir. Just a voluntary statement. Unless you'd prefer to have an attorney present? Trevor's eyes darted to Naomi, pleading. She looked away. Let him drown. Let him panic. She was done throwing him life preservers. I don't need an attorney. I didn't do anything wrong. Then you won't mind coming with us now. As the officers escorted Trevor to their patrol car, Inspector Reeves turned to Naomi. Mrs. Brooks, is there anyone who might want to harm you or your property? Anyone who's been threatening you? An angry business competitor? A disgruntled employee? Naomi thought about the black sedan down the street. About Brittany watching the flames. About Trevor's phone conversation this morning, talking about divorce in Barbados and starting over. Inspector Reeves, I think I need to show you something. She pulled out her phone and showed the inspector the recording from that morning. The woman's face hardened as she listened. Mrs. Brooks, you need to get yourself a very good attorney. Today. Right now. I'm already working on it. After they all left, taking Trevor with them for questioning, Naomi stood alone in her driveway, looking at the destroyed car. Her phone buzzed with a text from Bernard Winters, her grandfather's attorney. Diane Martinez. Best divorce attorney in the state. I told her you'd call. And Naomi, I pulled the digital files. Your grandfather's documentation is safe. Everything you need is recoverable. Thank God. Thank God for paranoid grandfathers who made backups. Her phone buzzed again. Rochelle. On my way over. Don't move. Don't talk to anyone. And definitely don't let that man back in the house. Naomi went inside and for the first time in 5 years, truly looked at her home. The house she'd bought with money from her company's first major contract. The mortgage she'd paid. The renovations she'd funded. Her name on the deed. Her credit building the life they'd shared. She walked into Trevor's home office, a room she rarely entered because he'd always claimed he needed privacy for important work. Now with him gone, she sat at his desk and opened his laptop. The password was still the same one he'd used for years, her birthday. How sentimental. How calculated. The laptop opened to reveal a desktop cluttered with files. Naomi started clicking, and with each click, the betrayal grew deeper and more calculated. Email folders labeled B contained hundreds of messages to Brittany. Love letters. Plans. Explicit photos. Messages from 2 years ago. This affair had been going on for 2 years. Longer than Naomi had even suspected. But worse than the affair were the financial files. Spreadsheets tracking Naomi's company accounts. Documents showing money transfers she'd never authorized. Bank statements for accounts she didn't know existed. Trevor had been embezzling from Brooks Digital Solutions for at least 18 months, moving money in small increments that wouldn't trigger automatic alerts. 5,000 here. 10,000 there. Adding up to over $3 million. $3 million stolen from her own company by her own husband. Naomi kept clicking, her shock turning to cold fury. There were files detailing her personal assets. The value of her company. Projections for what he'd get in a divorce. Notes about community property loss. He'd been planning this for years. The slow theft, the affair, the eventual divorce where he'd position himself to take half of everything she'd built. She found a folder labeled insurance and opened it. Inside were documents related to the Mercedes. Trevor had taken out a separate insurance policy on the car 6 months ago, a policy she knew nothing about. A policy worth $500,000 with him listed as the beneficiary. He'd burned the car to collect insurance money. He'd destroyed her grandfather's legacy for a payout. Naomi heard the front door open. Rochelle's voice called out, "Naomi? Where are you?" "Upstairs. Trevor's office." Rochelle appeared in the doorway, took one look at Naomi's face and immediately knew. "What did you find?" "Everything. The affair. The embezzlement. The insurance fraud. He's been systematically destroying me for years, and I was too busy building a business to notice." Rochelle pulled up a chair and looked at the laptop screen. As a fellow tech entrepreneur and Naomi's business partner, she understood immediately what she was seeing. "Oh my God. Naomi, this is enough to send him to prison." "I know. You need to call that attorney. Right now." Naomi pulled out her phone and dialed the number Bernard had sent. A woman's voice answered, professional and sharp. "Martinez Law. How can I help you?" "My name is Naomi Brooks. Bernard Winters referred me to Attorney Martinez. I need to file for divorce and I need to do it immediately. Like today. And I need to press criminal charges against my husband for embezzlement, arson, and fraud." There was a pause, then, "Hold please." A moment later, a different voice came on, stronger, commanding. "Mrs. Brooks, this is Diane Martinez. Bernard filled me in on your situation. How fast can you get to my office?" "I can be there in 40 minutes. "Make it 30. Bring everything you have, documents, recordings, evidence." "And Mrs. Brooks? Don't let your husband back in that house. Change the locks. No. Today. I'm texting you a locksmith I trust. He'll be at your house in an hour." "Okay. And Naomi? Breathe. You're going to get through this. Trust me, I've handled worse." "I doubt that," Naomi said, looking at the evidence of Trevor's betrayal spread across his laptop screen. "You'd be surprised what people are capable of when money and ego get involved. See you in 30 minutes. And bring that laptop." Naomi hung up and looked at Rochelle. "I need you to do something for me. Anything. Go to the office. Pull every financial record for the past 3 years. Look for any transactions Trevor approved. Any transfers, any new accounts, any suspicious patterns. I need a complete picture of what he's stolen." "I'm on it." Rochelle stood up, then paused. "Naomi, I'm sorry. I should have seen something. We work together every day. I should have noticed. He fooled everyone. He's good at lying. That's what makes this so scary." Naomi saved the files from Trevor's laptop onto a flash drive. "But I'm better at winning." After Rochelle left, Naomi took one more look around Trevor's office. This room had always felt off-limits, sacred somehow. Now she saw it for what it was, the headquarters of his betrayal. The place where he'd plotted against her while she was downstairs making dinner or in her own office working late on contracts that would benefit them both. Except there was no them both. There was only him, stealing from her, planning to destroy her, thinking he was clever enough to get away with it. She thought about the car burning in the driveway. About Brittany watching from down the street. About Trevor's smug face as he watched it burn. He'd wanted to break her. To take away something precious and irreplaceable. To remind her that no matter how successful she was, he could still hurt her. But he'd miscalculated. Badly. Because the thing about successful people, especially those who'd built something from nothing, was that they knew how to take a loss and turn it into fuel. Every setback was data. Every betrayal was information. Every attack was an opportunity to strike back harder. Trevor had lit a fire last night. But not the one he thought. Naomi grabbed the laptop, the flash drive, and her phone. She had 30 minutes to get to Diane Martinez's office, and she intended to use every second of the drive to mentally prepare for war. Trevor thought he was playing chess. He was about to discover he'd brought a board game to a battlefield. Diane Martinez's office was located in a sleek downtown building with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. The waiting area had white leather chairs and abstract art on the walls. Expensive, minimalist, intimidating. Exactly what Naomi needed. A young associate led her to a conference room where Diane was waiting. The attorney was about 50, with sharp eyes and salt and pepper hair pulled into a tight bun. She wore a navy suit that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. She looked like someone who ate opposing counsel for breakfast. "Mrs. Brooks. Sit. Show me what you have." For the next hour, Naomi laid it all out. The recording of Trevor's phone call. The evidence from his laptop. The fire inspector's preliminary report. The bank statements showing embezzlement. The insurance fraud. Everything. Diane took notes on a yellow legal pad, her expression never changing. When Naomi finished, the attorney set down her pen and looked at her directly. You have enough evidence here to destroy him. Criminally and civilly. But I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Okay. What do you want? Revenge? Justice? Your money back? To just be done with him as quickly as possible? Because each of those goals requires a different strategy. Naomi thought about it. About Trevor's face as he watched her car burn. About the years of lies. About Brittany smiling at company events while secretly sleeping with Naomi's husband. About every time Trevor had criticized her success, her ambition, her drive, all while stealing from her. I want him to understand exactly what he threw away. I want every cent he stole from me back with interest. I want him prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And I want to make sure he can never do this to anyone else again. Diane smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. It was the smile of a predator spotting wounded prey. Good. I can work with that. Here's what's going to happen. First, we're filing for divorce today. Immediate restraining order citing the arson and threatening behavior. He won't be allowed within 500 feet of you, your home, or your business. He works for my company. Not anymore. We'll have security escort him out today. He's fired, effective immediately. Do you have board approval for that? I own 70% of the company. I don't need board approval. Even better. Second, I'm contacting the district attorney's office. With the evidence you have, they'll open a criminal investigation immediately. Arson is a felony. Embezzlement is a felony. Insurance fraud is a felony. Your husband is looking at serious prison time. The words should have felt good. Instead, they felt surreal. Yesterday morning, she'd been married. Now she was planning her husband's destruction. Third, Diane continued, you need to prepare yourself. This is going to get ugly. He'll try to turn people against you. He'll claim you're vindictive, that this is about money, that he was the victim of an abusive marriage. Cheaters and thieves always play victim when they're caught. Let him try. I have evidence. Evidence doesn't matter to public opinion. People believe what they want to believe. So here's what you're going to do. Nothing. You're going to go about your business like nothing's wrong. Go to work. Smile at events. Post on social media about your company's successes. Don't talk about the divorce. Don't mention Trevor. Just be successful and unbothered. You want me to pretend everything's fine? I want you to show everyone that you're thriving without him. That's the best revenge. Not tearing him down, building yourself up so high that he can't even see you from where he's falling. Naomi nodded slowly. She understood the strategy. Let Trevor self-destruct while she remained dignified and focused on her success. How long will this take? The divorce? In this state, with a contested case like this, probably 18 months to 2 years. The criminal case? Longer. But we'll move fast on the restraining order and asset freezes. By end of day, Trevor won't be able to access any joint accounts or sell any marital property. He has $3 million in hidden accounts. Not for long. Once we file, we can subpoena his banking records. We'll find every cent. They spent another hour going over details, signing papers, planning strategy. When Naomi finally left the office, it was early afternoon. She felt exhausted but strangely energized. For the first time since seeing her car burning, she felt like she had some control back. Her phone rang. An unknown number. She answered cautiously. Mrs. Brooks? This is Detective Morrison with the Fraud Division. We'd like to talk to you about the evidence you provided regarding embezzlement from your company. Of course. When? Are you available now? We'd like to move quickly before your husband has a chance to hide assets or destroy evidence. I'm available. Where should I meet you? 2 hours later, after giving a detailed statement to detectives and handing over copies of all the evidence, Naomi drove to her office. Brooks Digital Solutions occupied the top 3 floors of a tech building near the university. She'd started the company 7 years ago in a tiny rented office with 1 employee, herself. Now she had a staff of 45 and annual revenue of $72 million. And Trevor had almost destroyed it all. Rochelle met her at the elevator, tablet in hand. Security just escorted Trevor out of the building. He went to his office to pack his things, but I had IT lock him out of all systems before he got there. He didn't take anything digital. How did he react? About how you'd expect. Yelling. threatening to sue, claiming you'd regret this. Then he saw the police outside and he left quickly. Police? They showed up right after he did. Apparently they have more questions. He left with them about 20 minutes ago. Naomi felt a grim satisfaction. Trevor's world was collapsing, and it was only the beginning. What did you find in the financial records? She asked as they walked to her office. It's worse than we thought. He's been embezzling for at least 3 years, not 2. And it's not just 3 million, it's closer to 5. He set up fake vendor accounts, created shell companies, approved purchases that never happened. He's been systematic about it. But you can trace it all? Every penny. He was clever, but he wasn't that clever. He left a digital trail a mile wide. They spent the rest of the afternoon going through the evidence with the company's forensic accountant. By 6 o'clock, they had a complete picture of Trevor's theft. $5.2 million, stolen over 3 years, funneled into accounts in Trevor's name and Brittany's name. Brittany, the secretary who'd been working here for 4 years. Who'd attended every company party. Who'd smiled at Naomi and called her Mrs. Brooks, while secretly helping to steal millions. Where is Brittany now? Naomi asked. She called in sick this morning. Hasn't been seen since yesterday evening. Since she was watching the car burn. Since she realized the plan was falling apart. Fire her. Effective immediately. And send the evidence about her involvement to the police. Rochelle nodded, already typing on her tablet. Done. Naomi's phone buzzed. Trevor was calling. She declined it. He called again. Declined. A text came through. We need to talk. This is insane. I didn't do anything wrong. Your attorney is filling your head with lies. I love you. We can fix this. She blocked his number. Another text from an unknown number. Trevor must have borrowed someone's phone. You're making a huge mistake. I gave you the best years of my life. I helped you build that company. I deserve half of everything. If you don't drop these charges, you'll regret it. She screenshot the text and sent it to Diane Martinez, then blocked that number too. Her office phone rang. The receptionist sounded nervous. Mrs. Brooks? Trevor's mother is online too. She's very upset and insists on speaking with you. Of course. The family pressure campaign. Right on schedule. Put her through. Naomi? Trevor's mother, Patricia, sounded like she'd been crying. What's going on? Trevor called me from the police station. He says you've accused him of terrible things. He says you've gone crazy and are trying to destroy him. Patricia, I'm not discussing this with you. This is between Trevor and me. He's my son. You can't just throw away a marriage without even trying to work things out. What about counseling? What about forgiveness? Did he tell you he's been having an affair for 2 years? Silence. Did he tell you he burned down my car? Or that he stole over $5 million from my company? That's not true. Trevor would never. I have evidence, Patricia. Recordings. Bank statements. Security footage. Your son is a liar and a thief and he's going to prison. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have work to do. She hung up before Patricia could respond. Immediately, her phone started buzzing with texts from Trevor's family. His brother. His father. His aunt. All of them begging her to reconsider, to think about the family, to remember her wedding vows. She turned off her phone. You okay? Rochelle asked. I'm perfect, Naomi said, and she meant it. Every moment of this was awful, but she was handling it. She was still standing. Still working. Still building. Trevor had tried to break her, but he'd only made her stronger. Over the next 2 weeks, Naomi fell into a routine. She woke early, went to the gym, dressed in her best professional clothes and went to work. At the office, she was focused and efficient. She met with clients, reviewed contracts, and led team meetings. She posted on the company's social media about their new contracts and innovations. She attended a tech conference and gave a keynote speech about women in business. To the outside world, she was thriving. At night, alone in her house, she met with attorneys, reviewed evidence, and planned her next moves. The locksmith had changed all the locks. The security company had installed new cameras and an alarm system. Trevor's belongings were packed in boxes in the garage, ready to be picked up whenever the restraining order allowed it. She didn't cry. She didn't rage. She just worked. At a charity gala 2 weeks after filing for divorce, Naomi wore a stunning emerald dress and diamond earrings. She smiled for photos. She made small talk with donors. She accepted congratulations on her company's recent growth. Trevor's friends were there. His former colleagues. People who'd been at their wedding. They watched her nervously, unsure what to say. Some avoided her. Some asked how she was doing in hushed, sympathetic tones. "I'm fantastic," she told them all with a bright smile. "Business is booming. We just landed a contract with a major tech company. I've never been better." Let them report back to Trevor. Let him hear that she was fine. Better than fine. Thriving without him. Because that was the truth. Every day without him was better than every day with him had been. She'd been carrying dead weight for 5 years and hadn't realized it until the weight was gone. At the gala, she ran into an old friend from graduate school, Professor Isaiah Grant. He taught computer science at the university and consulted for tech startups. "Naomi Brooks," he said warmly, "I heard about your company's latest contract. Congratulations." "Thank you, Isaiah. How's the academic world treating you?" "Can't complain. Though I must say I'm jealous of your success. You're living the dream we all talked about in grad school." They talked for 20 minutes about technology, innovation, and the future of the industry. It was the first conversation she'd had in weeks that wasn't about divorce or betrayal or revenge. It was just normal, professional, pleasant. "We should have coffee sometime," Isaiah suggested. "I'd love to hear more about your approach to scalable systems." "I'd like that." They exchanged numbers, and Naomi felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Genuine interest from someone who saw her as a professional, not as Trevor's wife or Trevor's victim. As she drove home that night, passing the spot in the driveway where her grandfather's car had burned, Naomi thought about masks. She'd been wearing one for 2 weeks, the mask of normalcy, of success, of being unbothered. But underneath that mask she was planning, strategizing, building a case so airtight that Trevor would have no escape. He thought she was just going through the motions of a messy divorce. He had no idea she was building a prison with his name on it, one piece of evidence at a time. The conference room at Brooks Digital Solutions was filled with bankers' boxes, each one labeled with dates and financial periods. Naomi's forensic accountant, a sharp woman named Cynthia Park, had spent the past 3 weeks reconstructing every financial transaction Trevor had touched in the last 5 years. "It's actually impressive," Cynthia said, spreading documents across the table. "In a terrible way. He created an entire network of fake vendors. Here's ABC Tech Solutions, doesn't exist. Here's Summit Consulting Group, also fake. He'd approve invoices for services these companies supposedly provided, the money would go into accounts he controlled, and then he'd move it around until it landed in offshore accounts under shell companies." Naomi stared at the flowchart Cynthia had created, showing the money trail. Red lines connected her company's accounts to Trevor's fake vendors to overseas banks to companies registered in the Cayman Islands. "How did our auditors miss this?" "They didn't at first. See these notes?" Cynthia pointed to flagged transactions from 2 years ago. "Your external auditors questioned 3 transactions. Trevor provided false documentation, fake contracts, fake invoices, even fake correspondence. He was thorough. And because he was your husband and the operations manager, nobody looked too closely. So he used my trust as a weapon." "Essentially, yes. And there's more. He didn't just steal from the company. He also took out loans using your house as collateral, loans you knew nothing about." Naomi's blood ran cold. "How is that possible? I didn't sign anything." "Forged signatures. He filed the paperwork when you were traveling for business. The loans are in both your names, but you'll notice the handwriting on the signature pages is identical. He didn't even try to fake your signature well, he just signed his own name twice in slightly different ways." "How much?" $300,000 across 2 loans. The money went into his personal accounts." "Can I challenge the loans?" "Absolutely. With handwriting analysis we can prove fraud. But in the meantime, those loans are technically your responsibility too." Naomi felt sick. It wasn't just about the money, though $5 million plus $300,000 was devastating. It was the systematic nature of it. The planning. The years of deception. What about Brittany's involvement? Cynthia flipped to another section of documents. She was essential to the scheme. As your secretary, she had access to filing systems, signatures for comparison, and knowledge of your schedule. She helped Trevor create the fake documents. We found evidence that she was operating 2 of the shell companies, signing papers, managing accounts. She's not just an affair partner who happened to benefit. She's a co-conspirator. Rochelle, who'd been silent until now, spoke up. "What's our total exposure? Worst case scenario? If you couldn't recover any of the stolen money, you'd be looking at about $6 million in losses, including the fraudulent loans, plus legal fees for both the criminal case and the divorce." Realistically, you're looking at $7 to $8 million in total impact. $7 to $8 million. The number was staggering. It could destroy a smaller company. Fortunately, Brooks Digital Solutions had strong revenue and reserves. But it would still hurt. However, Cynthia continued, the good news is that we can trace most of the money. It's still sitting in those offshore accounts. Once the courts get involved, we can file to freeze and recover those assets. Trevor was smart enough to steal it, but not smart enough to hide it properly. And the criminal case? With this evidence? The district attorney has enough to prosecute for embezzlement, fraud, forgery, and potentially racketeering if they want to go big. Trevor and Brittany are looking at serious prison time. After the meeting, Naomi sat alone in her office, looking out at the city skyline. $7 to $8 million. Years of careful planning on Trevor's part. And she'd been blind to all of it, too focused on building her business to notice that her husband was actively destroying it. Her phone buzzed. Diane Martinez. Naomi, I have news. The restraining order hearing is tomorrow. Be prepared, Trevor will be there with his attorney. They're going to paint you as an angry, vindictive wife who's weaponizing the legal system. Let them try. I have evidence. I know. But I need you to be prepared for what he'll say. He's going to claim you were cold and distant. That you prioritized work over your marriage. That he felt neglected and that's why he sought comfort elsewhere. He's going to blame me for his affair and his theft? That's exactly what he's going to do. It's textbook cheater behavior. And unfortunately, some people will believe it. That's why your behavior these past few weeks has been perfect. You've been professional, successful, and dignified. Keep doing that. The next day, Naomi sat in a courtroom next to Diane Martinez, wearing a navy suit and pearl earrings. Across the aisle, Trevor sat with his attorney, a man named Gerald Hutchins who had a reputation for defending white-collar criminals. Trevor looked terrible. He'd lost weight. His suit was wrinkled. His eyes were bloodshot. When he saw Naomi, his expression flickered between pleading and angry. The judge, a no-nonsense woman named Judge Helen Carter, entered the courtroom. Everyone stood. This is a hearing regarding the restraining order filed by Mrs. Naomi Brooks against her husband, Mr. Trevor Brooks, citing domestic violence through property destruction and threatening behavior. Mrs. Martinez, present your case. Diane stood and laid out the evidence methodically. The fire inspector's report confirming arson. The security footage showing Trevor's car leaving the house just minutes before the fire started. The recording of Trevor's phone call admitting to planning a divorce. The threatening text messages. Your Honor, Mr. Brooks deliberately destroyed his wife's property in an act of intimidation and revenge. He burned a vintage car that had immense sentimental value, knowing it would cause her emotional distress. He then attempted to lie to police and fire investigators about his involvement. His subsequent threatening messages demonstrate a pattern of escalating behavior that puts Mrs. Brooks at risk. Trevor's attorney stood. Your Honor, this is a vindictive attempt to punish Mr. Brooks for the natural breakdown of a marriage. Yes, there were marital problems. Yes, my client made mistakes. But burning a car, which was marital property that belonged to both of them, is not domestic violence. It's a property dispute at most. Mr. Hutchins, Judge Carter said dryly, arson is a crime regardless of who owns the property. Continue. Hutchins shifted uncomfortably. What I mean is, there's no evidence that Mr. Brooks intended to harm or threaten Mrs. Brooks. He was acting out of frustration with their failing marriage, a marriage in which Mrs. Brooks, by her own admission, worked constantly and had little time for her husband. So your defense is that my client drove her husband to commit arson by being too successful at her job? Diane's voice dripped with contempt. I'm saying that context matters. Mr. Brooks felt neglected. He made a regrettable choice in a moment of emotional distress. Judge Carter looked at Trevor directly. Mr. Brooks, did you burn your wife's car? Trevor stood. Your Honor, I was angry. She was never home. She cared more about her company than about me. I just wanted her to pay attention for once. I didn't think she'd blow it out of proportion like this. The judge's expression didn't change. So that's a yes. You committed arson because you wanted attention. It wasn't like that. Mr. Brooks, sit down. The judge looked at the documents in front of her. I'm granting the restraining order. Mr. Brooks, you are to stay at least 500 feet from Mrs. Brooks, her residence, and her place of business at all times. You are not to contact her directly or through intermediaries. You are not to dispose of or damage any marital property. Violation of this order will result in immediate arrest. Do you understand? Trevor's face crumpled. Your Honor, please, I have nowhere to go. That's my house too. My clothes are there. My things. You should have thought of that before committing arson. You have one opportunity, supervised by police, to collect your personal belongings. That will be arranged through the attorneys. Next case. It was over in 20 minutes. Trevor tried to approach Naomi in the hallway, but Diane stepped between them immediately. That's a violation of the restraining order, Mr. Brooks. Would you like to spend tonight in jail? Trevor backed off, his eyes burning with rage. This isn't over, Naomi. You think you can just destroy my life? I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are. Mr. Brooks, Diane said calmly, I'm recording this. Keep talking and you'll be arrested before you make it to the parking lot. Trevor's attorney pulled him away, whispering urgently. They disappeared down the hallway. Well, Diane said, that went better than expected. He practically confessed to arson in open court. What happens now? Now you wait for the criminal trial. The DA's office will be in touch. They'll probably offer Trevor a plea deal, reduced sentence in exchange for returning the money and pleading guilty. If he's smart, he'll take it. And if he's not? Then we go to trial, present all this evidence, and he spends the next 10 to 15 years in prison. Over the next month, Trevor's life fell apart in spectacular fashion. The criminal charges were filed publicly. Local news picked up the story, tech CEO's husband accused of embezzlement and arson. His photo was everywhere. His family stopped defending him once they saw the evidence. His friends abandoned him. He lost the expensive apartment he'd been staying in because his credit cards, all funded by stolen money, were frozen. Meanwhile, Naomi's life flourished. Her company landed 2 more major contracts. She appeared on a podcast about women in tech. A business magazine featured her on their cover with the headline, Building an Empire, How Naomi Brooks Created a Tech Giant. She didn't mention Trevor in any interview. When asked about her personal life, she smiled and said, I'm focused on my work and my company's mission. That's what drives me. Perfect. Professional. Unbothered. But at night, going through the endless documentation of Trevor's betrayal, she felt the weight of it. Not sadness exactly. More like a deep weariness. She'd spent 5 years building a life with someone who'd been systematically dismantling it the entire time. Isaiah, the professor she'd met at the gala, had become a regular coffee companion. They met twice a week to discuss technology and innovation. He never asked about her personal life, never pried. He treated her like a colleague, a peer, someone whose ideas mattered. It was refreshing. You seem tired, he observed one afternoon over coffee. Big case I'm dealing with. It's exhausting. Anything I can help with? Not unless you can make criminal trials move faster. He didn't press. Just changed the subject to a new algorithm his students were developing. That evening, Naomi got a call from Detective Morrison. Mrs. Brooks, I wanted to give you a heads up. We've arrested Brittany Henderson. She tried to flee to Mexico with about $200,000 in cash. Border Patrol stopped her. She ran? Panicked, I'd say. Trevor's attorney contacted her, probably trying to coordinate their defense, and she decided to cut her losses and disappear. Didn't work out for her. What happens now? She'll be charged as a co-conspirator. The DA is offering her a deal. Testify against Trevor, return all the money she received, and she'll get a reduced sentence. She's probably going to take it. Good. Let them turn on each other. Let Trevor see what loyalty from his mistress was worth when prison time was on the line. Naomi hung up and poured herself a glass of wine. She stood at her kitchen window, looking out at the city lights, thinking about all the times Trevor had stood in this same spot and lied to her face. All the times he'd kissed her goodbye while planning her downfall. She raised her glass in a silent toast to the future, to a life without betrayal, without lies, without someone actively working to destroy everything she built. Tomorrow she had a board meeting to prepare for, a new investor to meet, a keynote speech to write. Trevor had tried to burn her down. Instead, he just cleared away all the dead weight. And now she was going to build something even better. The call came on a Tuesday morning while Naomi was reviewing quarterly reports. Diane Martinez's voice was calm but urgent. We need to meet. Trevor's attorney just filed a counter motion. He's going on the offensive. An hour later, Naomi sat in Diane's office, reading through the legal documents Gerald Hutchins had submitted. With each page, her disbelief grew. Trevor was claiming he was the victim. According to his filing, Naomi had been emotionally abusive throughout their marriage. She'd belittled his contributions to the company. She'd isolated him from friends and family. She'd controlled all the finances and gave him an allowance like a child. The embezzlement? He called it taking what he'd rightfully earned, since she refused to pay him a proper salary. The affair? He claimed it was his only source of emotional support in a cold and loveless marriage. "This is insane," Naomi said. "None of this is true." "I know. But this is what I warned you about." He's trying to flip the narrative. Paint himself as the downtrodden husband of a successful, controlling woman. Will anyone believe this? Some people will. People love a story about a powerful woman being secretly terrible. It fits their worldview. That's why we need to be strategic about how we respond. Diane spread out more documents on the table. "He's also demanding half of everything: the house, your business assets, retirement accounts. He claims he contributed equally to your success and deserves equal compensation in the divorce. He stole from my company, which we'll prove in criminal court. But in divorce court, he's allowed to make these claims. We'll shut them down, but it's going to be a fight." That afternoon, Trevor's media campaign began. Somehow, definitely not coincidentally, a sympathetic article appeared in a local online magazine. It featured an anonymous interview with a man whose successful wife left him with nothing after he dedicated years to supporting her career. The article didn't name Trevor directly, but it was obvious. It talked about a woman in tech whose obsession with success destroyed her marriage. It quoted friends saying she was cold and calculating. It suggested she was using her wealth and power to crush her ex-husband simply because he'd fallen in love with someone else. Naomi read it on her phone and felt rage boil through her veins. "Don't respond," Rochelle said immediately, seeing her face. "That's what they want. They want you to look emotional and vindictive. But it's all lies. So what? Your evidence will speak louder than his lies. Just keep doing what you're doing. Stay professional. Stay successful. Let him scream into the void." It was good advice, but it was hard to follow. Especially when Trevor's family started calling again, now armed with his version of events. "How could you treat him like this?" Patricia sobbed over the phone before Naomi could hang up. "He supported your dreams. He gave up his own career to help you build yours. And this is how you repay him." Naomi wanted to scream that Trevor never had a career to give up. That he'd been working entry-level jobs with no prospects when they met. That she'd given him a position at her company out of love, and he'd used it to rob her blind. But she didn't. She just said, "Patricia, you don't know the whole story. Please stop calling me," and hung up. The day got worse. At work, an employee approached her nervously. "Mrs. Brooks? I thought you should know. Someone's been calling around to former employees asking questions about you. About how you treat people. About whether you're difficult to work for." "Who?" They wouldn't give their name. But the questions were specific. Like they were trying to build a case that you're a bad boss. Trevor. Or someone working for him. Trying to find disgruntled former employees who'd say negative things about her. "Thank you for telling me. If anyone contacts you, don't engage. Just forward the information to Rochelle." That evening, Naomi met with Diane again. "He's trying to destroy my reputation. The article, the phone calls, his family spreading lies. This is a coordinated attack." "Yes, it is. And it's going to get worse before it gets better. Trevor is desperate. His criminal trial is in 3 months. He knows he's going to prison. So he's trying to take you down with him, at least in the court of public opinion." "What do I do?" "Exactly what you've been doing. Let him flail. Let him look desperate and bitter. Meanwhile, you stay calm and professional. We'll respond to his legal claims with evidence, not emotion. And Naomi? We're going to file for a restraining order extension. These coordinated attacks, the calls to your employees, the media campaign, it's all harassment. We can use it." The next morning, Naomi woke to find her social media accounts flooded with messages. Anonymous accounts were posting on her company's pages, calling her a fraud. Claiming she'd stolen credit for other people's work. Saying she was a terrible person who destroyed lives. It was a troll army. Coordinated. Vicious. Rochelle noticed immediately. "Naomi, don't look at the comments. I got our social media manager flagging and deleting. This is organized harassment. Can we trace where it's coming from?" "We're trying. But they're using VPNs and fake accounts. It's sophisticated." Which meant Trevor had hired someone. He was spending money he didn't have, probably his family's money, to run a smear campaign against her. That afternoon, she had to give a presentation to potential investors. She stood in front of 15 people in suits, presenting her company's growth projections, while her phone buzzed continuously with hateful messages from anonymous accounts. She ignored it. delivered the presentation flawlessly, answered questions with confidence, closed the meeting with 3 new investors committed to funding her company's expansion. After they left, she allowed herself exactly 5 minutes to sit in the conference room and feel overwhelmed. Then she called Diane. The harassment is escalating. My social media, my employees, now anonymous online accounts. How do I make it stop? We file an emergency motion. Harassment through third parties violates the restraining order. I'll have something drafted by end of day. Will it work? It'll force Trevor to back off or face arrest. And it'll make him look worse in court. A man who's supposedly the victim doesn't run coordinated smear campaigns. Abusers do. That night, unable to sleep, Naomi sat at her kitchen table going through everything systematically. She made lists of every incident, every attack, every lie. She documented the timeline. She saved screenshots of the troll accounts. She recorded every threatening phone call from Trevor's family. Evidence. She built a career on data and evidence. This was no different. Around midnight, her doorbell rang. She looked at the security camera feed and saw Isaiah standing on her porch, holding a bag of takeout food. She opened the door, confused. Isaiah? What are you doing here? Rochelle called me. Said you were having a rough day and probably hadn't eaten. I brought Thai food. Naomi felt tears prick her eyes, the first tears she'd allowed herself in weeks. I'm fine. Really? I'm sure you are. But even fine people need to eat. May I come in? She let him in. They sat at her kitchen table and he unpacked containers of pad thai and spring rolls. He didn't ask questions. Didn't pry. Just talked about mundane things. His students, a funny thing that happened at the faculty meeting, a new restaurant that opened downtown. Normal. Blessedly normal. After they ate, he finally said, I don't know what you're dealing with. Rochelle didn't give me details. But I know enough to know you're under attack. So I want you to know you have friends. People who believe in you. People who see your character and your strength. You barely know me. I know you well enough. I've watched you handle impossible situations with grace. I've seen how you treat your employees, your colleagues, your competitors. I've seen your integrity. Whatever someone is saying about you, I don't believe it. Naomi wiped her eyes. Thank you. I needed to hear that. Anytime. Literally. If you need backup at a court appearance, someone to sit in the audience so you're not alone, someone to bring you Thai food at midnight, call me. He left shortly after, and Naomi felt something shift inside her. She wasn't alone. She had Rochelle, Diane, Bernard, her employees, and now Isaiah. She had people who knew her, really knew her, and who stood by her. Trevor had his family's misguided loyalty and his attorney's paid defense. She had truth and real support. The next week, everything came to a head. Trevor violated the restraining order by showing up at a charity event where Naomi was speaking. Security escorted him out, but not before he caused a scene, shouting that she was a liar and a manipulator. He was arrested within an hour. Held overnight. Released on bail the next morning with a stern warning from the judge that one more violation would result in jail time. His attorney filed an emergency motion claiming Naomi had entrapped Trevor by attending the event, knowing he'd be there. The judge denied it within 24 hours, calling the argument absurd. The criminal trial date was set, 3 months away. The divorce proceedings would begin shortly after. We're entering the final stretch, Diane told Naomi. This is where desperate people do desperate things. I need you to be extra careful. Vary your routes to work. Don't go anywhere alone at night. Keep your security system armed. You think he'd hurt me? I think he's lost everything and has nothing left to lose. That makes him dangerous. Naomi hired a security company. They installed panic buttons in her house and office. They assigned a guard to follow her to and from work. It felt like overkill, but Diane insisted. Better paranoid than sorry. Despite everything, the harassment, the smear campaign, the legal battles, Naomi's company thrived. In the midst of chaos, she closed the biggest deal in her company's history. A $15 million contract with a Fortune 500 company. The press release made national news. Trevor saw it, of course. Everyone saw it. And that night, Naomi got a message from an unknown number. You think you've won. You haven't. I'll make sure you lose everything just like you did to me. You'll regret this. She forwarded it to Diane and the police. They traced the number to a burner phone purchased with cash. Untraceable. That's a direct threat, Detective Morrison said. We're adding it to the charges. And we're recommending his bail be revoked. 2 days later, Trevor was back in jail, held without bail until his trial. The judge cited the escalating threats and pattern of harassment as evidence that he was a danger to Naomi. Finally, he couldn't reach her. Couldn't call. Couldn't send messages. Couldn't orchestrate attacks. Naomi felt like she could breathe for the first time in months. But the peace didn't last long. 2 weeks before the criminal trial, Trevor's attorney approached Diane with a plea deal offer. Trevor will plead guilty to embezzlement and insurance fraud. He'll agree to return all stolen money plus 20% damages. He'll serve 5 years in prison. In exchange, the DA drops the arson charge and the more serious fraud charges that carry 15-year sentences. Diane looked at Naomi. It's your call. If we go to trial and win, he'll get 10 to 15 years. But trials are risky. Juries are unpredictable. This way, you're guaranteed to get your money back and see him punished. Naomi thought about it. 5 years versus 15 years. It didn't seem like enough for what he'd done. But it was guaranteed justice. What about Brittany? She took a similar deal, testifying against Trevor in exchange for 3 years and full restitution of her portion. Tell them we have a counteroffer. Trevor pleads guilty to all charges. He serves 8 years minimum. He returns all money plus 30% damages. He signs a confession admitting to everything, the affair, the theft, the arson, the fraud. And that confession becomes part of the public record. Diane smiled. You want him to admit it all publicly. I want everyone who believed his lies to see the truth in his own words. No more ambiguity. No more he said, she said. Just his confession. I'll make the offer. 3 days later, Trevor accepted. He signed a 12-page confession detailing everything. Every dollar stolen, every lie told, every illegal act. He admitted to the affair, to burning the car, to the smear campaign, to the harassment. All of it. The document was filed with the court and became public record within hours. By evening, it had been picked up by local news. The same online magazine that had published the sympathetic article about the wronged husband now published a follow-up. Tech executive's husband confesses to massive fraud and abuse. Trevor's family called to apologize. Naomi didn't answer. Patricia left a voicemail, crying, saying she was sorry for not believing her. Too little, too late. The sentencing hearing was scheduled for the following month. Until then, Trevor would remain in jail. Naomi could finally start rebuilding. Not just her finances, those were actually fine. Her company was stronger than ever. The stolen money would be returned. The fraudulent loans would be dismissed. No, what needed rebuilding was her ability to trust. Her sense of security. Her belief that people were who they claimed to be. That would take time. Maybe years. But for now, she had victory. She had justice. And she had herself, stronger, wiser, and absolutely unwilling to ever let anyone take advantage of her again. The conference room was packed with journalists, cameras, and spectators. News vans lined the street outside the courthouse. What had started as a private divorce had become a public spectacle, thanks to Trevor's confession and the shocking amount of money involved. Naomi sat in the front row, flanked by Diane and Rochelle. She wore a charcoal suit and minimal jewelry. Professional. Composed. She'd learned that her appearance in court would be photographed and analyzed, so she chose her outfits carefully. Trevor was brought in wearing an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed. He lost more weight. His face was gaunt, his hair unkempt. He didn't look at Naomi. Didn't look at anyone. Just stared at the table in front of him. Judge Carter entered and everyone stood. When they sat again, the judge shuffled papers and addressed the court. We're here for the sentencing of Trevor Brooks, who has pleaded guilty to multiple counts of embezzlement, fraud, forgery, arson, and related charges. Before I hand down the sentence, I want to address something. She looked directly at Trevor. Mr. Brooks, I've been a judge for 23 years. I've seen a lot of criminals come through this courtroom. Some are products of poverty and desperation. Some are young people who made terrible choices. Some are people who genuinely made mistakes and showed real remorse. She paused. You are none of those things. You are an educated man from a comfortable background who had every advantage. You married a successful woman and instead of celebrating her achievements, you resented them. Instead of building your own success, you stole hers. Instead of being honest about your unhappiness, you lied, cheated, and destroyed property out of pure spite. Trevor's attorney started to stand, but the judge waved him down. I'm not finished. What disturbs me most about your case, Mr. Brooks, is the calculated nature of your crimes. This wasn't a moment of weakness. This was years of deliberate theft, fraud, and manipulation. You didn't just take money. You tried to destroy your wife's reputation when you got caught. You orchestrated harassment campaigns. You violated restraining orders. Even after being arrested, you continued to threaten and intimidate. She looked at her papers again. The plea agreement recommends 8 years in prison. I'm going to give you 10. Trevor's head snapped up. What? But the agreement. The agreement said a minimum. I have discretion to go higher, and I'm exercising that discretion. 10 years in federal prison followed by 5 years of probation. You'll pay full restitution of all stolen funds plus 30% damages. You're prohibited from contacting Mrs. Brooks for the rest of your life. Any violation will result in additional charges. Your Honor, this is unfair. Trevor was on his feet now, his attorney trying to pull him down. She ruined my life. She turned everyone against me. All I did was take what I earned. Sit down, Mr. Brooks, Judge Carter said coldly. You earned nothing. You stole everything. And now you'll pay for it. Bailiff, remove the defendant. As guards moved to escort Trevor out, he turned to Naomi. His face was twisted with rage and desperation. This isn't over. You can't just move on like nothing happened. I'll make sure you never forget me. Mr. Brooks, you're making threats in open court. Would you like me to add another year? Judge Carter's voice was ice. Trevor's attorney finally managed to shut him up and pull him toward the door. As he was let out, still struggling, still shouting, Naomi felt nothing. No satisfaction. No anger. Just emptiness. 10 years. He'd be in prison for 10 years. By the time he got out, she'd be 43. A different person. Living a different life. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. Diane had prepared Naomi for this moment. They discussed what to say, how to say it, what message to send. Naomi stood on the courthouse steps, cameras flashing, microphones shoved toward her face. Mrs. Brooks, how do you feel about the sentence? I believe justice was served. This case was never about revenge. It was about holding someone accountable for serious crimes. Do you have anything to say to other women facing similar situations? Yes. Document everything. Trust your instincts. Don't let anyone make you doubt your own reality. And build a strong support system. You'll need it. Are you concerned about Trevor's threats? I'm concerned that someone capable of such calculated deception is out there, and other people could be his future victims. That's why accountability matters. What's next for you and your company? We're focused on growth and innovation. This situation was a setback, but we're stronger for it. Sometimes the worst betrayals teach us the most valuable lessons. She didn't take more questions. Diane ushered her to a waiting car, and they drove away from the media circus. In the car, Naomi finally allowed herself to exhale. It's really over. The criminal case is over. We still have the divorce proceedings, but those should be straightforward now. With his criminal conviction, he has no leverage. How long? Few months probably. He'll sign whatever we put in front of him. He has no money for attorneys, no public support, and a criminal record. You'll get the house, your company assets, everything. He'll get nothing. Naomi nodded, staring out the window at the city passing by. She thought about the past year, the fire, the discovery, the legal battles, the harassment. Every day had been a war. And she'd won. Completely, decisively won. But victory felt hollow. Because winning meant acknowledging how badly she'd lost in the first place. She'd lost 5 years of her life to a man who'd never loved her. She'd lost her grandfather's car and the memories it held. She'd lost her ability to trust easily. Trevor had taken so much from her that no court sentence could return. Over the next few weeks, the fallout continued. The news coverage sparked conversations about financial abuse in marriages, about successful women being targeted by insecure partners, about the importance of financial independence. Naomi was invited to speak at events, to share her story, to be an inspiration to other women. She declined most of them. This wasn't a story she wanted to build her identity around. She was more than Trevor's victim, more than a cautionary tale. But she did agree to one interview, with a business podcast she'd respected for years. She talked about her company, her innovations, her vision for the future. The host asked about the legal case, and Naomi gave a brief, factual answer, then immediately pivoted back to business. I don't want to be known as the woman whose husband betrayed her. I want to be known as the CEO who built a $75 million company and kept building even when someone tried to tear it down. That's the story I'm interested in telling. The episode went viral. Not because of the drama, but because of her refusal to be defined by it. Meanwhile, Brittany's sentencing hearing happened with far less fanfare. She got 3 years just as the plea deal promised. She testified against Trevor, providing details of their scheme and affair. In court, she apologized to Naomi. I was weak. I let him manipulate me. I'm so sorry for the pain I caused. Naomi didn't respond, didn't accept the apology. Just watched as Brittany was led away to begin her sentence. Some people deserved forgiveness. Brittany wasn't one of them. She'd been an active participant, not an innocent bystander. She'd smiled at Naomi at office parties while stealing from her. She'd watched the car burn with satisfaction. No, some people you just cut out of your life completely and never think about again. With both Trevor and Brittany behind bars, the divorce proceedings moved quickly. Trevor's attorney submitted papers agreeing to give Naomi everything: the house, the cars, all business assets. In exchange, he asked for nothing. He knows he has no case, Diane explained. A convicted felon with no income and no assets has no leverage in divorce court. The divorce was finalized on a Tuesday afternoon. Naomi signed papers in Diane's office, officially ending her marriage. She felt nothing. No sadness, no relief. Just completion. Congratulations, Diane said, shaking her hand. You're officially single and significantly richer. The restitution payments should start coming in next month. Thank you. For everything. Thank you for being the easiest client I've ever had. You followed instructions, kept your head down, and let the evidence speak. That's rare. Naomi left the office and drove to her company. She parked in her reserved spot, not the driveway where the Mercedes had burned, but a proper parking structure downtown. She rode the elevator to the top floor and walked into Brooks Digital Solutions. Her employees greeted her with applause. Someone had hung a banner, "Congratulations on your freedom." Rochelle handed her a champagne bottle. Time to celebrate. We're at work. It's 4 o'clock on a Tuesday. The clients are gone. The projects are on schedule. We're celebrating. They popped the champagne and toasted to new beginnings. To justice. To friendship. To surviving hell and coming out stronger. That evening, Naomi sat alone in her house, legally, unambiguously, solely hers, and made a list of things she wanted to do with the next chapter of her life. Expand the company internationally. Start a mentorship program for young women in tech. Write about her grandfather's innovations. Travel to places she'd never been. Learn to trust again. Build something lasting. Trevor had tried to destroy her. Instead, he'd freed her. Because now, looking at the future, she saw possibilities she'd never seen when she was married. She'd been holding herself back, dimming her light so he wouldn't feel threatened. Never again. Her phone buzzed. Isaiah. Saw the news. Divorce finalized. Congratulations. Want to grab dinner to celebrate? She smiled. Isaiah, kind, respectful, professional Isaiah, had been a quiet constant through all of this. Never pushing, never demanding, just present. Dinner sounds perfect. They met at a small restaurant downtown. Nothing fancy, just good food and comfortable booths. They talked about everything except the divorce. New technologies, upcoming conferences, his research, her company's expansion plans. As they were leaving, Isaiah said, "You know, I've been wanting to ask you something for weeks but didn't want to be inappropriate given everything you were dealing with." Ask. "Would you like to go to the tech conference in Austin next month?" "With me. Not as colleagues. As more than colleagues." Naomi looked at him. At his honest face, his kind eyes, his patient demeanor. He'd been there for months, never expecting anything, never taking advantage of her vulnerability. "I'd like that. But I need to be honest, I'm not ready for anything serious. I don't know when I will be." "That's okay. We can figure it out as we go. No pressure. No expectations. Just possibilities." Possibilities. She liked that word. "Then yes, Austin. As more than colleagues." He smiled and she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Not hope for a relationship, necessarily. Just hope that good men existed. That trust was possible. That she could have a future that wasn't defined by Trevor's betrayal. That night, lying in bed in her quiet house, Naomi thought about the past year. The fire that had started it all. The investigation that had revealed everything. The legal battles that had consumed her life. And now, finally, the beginning of peace. Trevor was in prison. Brittany was in prison. Her money was being restored. Her company was thriving. Her reputation was intact. She'd survived the worst betrayal of her life and come out stronger, wealthier, and wiser. As she drifted off to sleep, she thought about her grandfather. About the car he'd restored with his hands. About the journals he'd kept. About the legacy he'd left her. He'd always told her, "The strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire." She'd been through fire. Trevor had lit it, thinking it would destroy her. Instead, it had forged her into something unbreakable. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, Naomi received a call from Bernard Winters. "Naomi, I need you to come to my office. There's something about your grandfather's documents that you need to see." She drove to his law office that afternoon, curious. Bernard had recovered the digital scans of her grandfather's journals months ago, and they'd been instrumental in proving the patent claims. What more could there be? Bernard's office was old school, dark wood, leather chairs, walls lined with legal books. He gestured for her to sit and spread several documents across his desk. "When your grandfather's Mercedes was destroyed, I told you we had digital backups of everything. That was true. But what I didn't realize until recently was the full extent of what those documents contained." He pulled out a thick folder. Inside were pages and pages of technical diagrams, notes, and legal papers. Your grandfather didn't just invent a single technology component. He invented 3 separate technologies, all patented, all currently being used by major tech companies worldwide. The first patent, the one we've been pursuing, is for a processing chip design. That alone is worth about $100 million in lifetime royalties. Naomi's eyes widened. $100 million? That's the conservative estimate. But look at these. He pointed to 2 more sets of documents. The second patent is for a data compression algorithm currently used in cloud storage by half the major tech companies. The third is for a wireless communication protocol used in smartphones. Naomi felt lightheaded. How much are these worth? Combined with the first patent? Somewhere between $400 and $500 million in back royalties, plus ongoing payments. Your grandfather invented these technologies in the 70s and 80s, but he never properly pursued the commercial applications. The patents are still valid for another 8 years. $400 to $500 million. The number was incomprehensible. But the originals burned in the car, Naomi said slowly. Trevor destroyed them. He destroyed the physical documents, but not the patents themselves. The patents were filed with the U.S. Patent Office. They exist in official records. What we have are your grandfather's original notes proving he was the true inventor. These notes establish priority and prove the current patent holders don't have full rights to the technology. Bernard leaned back in his chair. Here's the thing that makes this particularly significant. Several major tech companies have been using these patents without proper licensing. They've been paying minimal fees to patent trolls who claim to own derivative works. But with your grandfather's original documentation, we can prove they need to pay you for the foundational patents. How did this happen? How did these companies get away with using his technology? Because your grandfather was a brilliant inventor but a terrible businessman. He filed the patents, then did nothing with them. Other companies built on his work, filed their own patents for improvements, and the original patents got buried in the system. It's actually not uncommon. And Trevor had no idea? Trevor knew about the first patent, the processing chip. That's why he asked about the journals. But he didn't know about the other 2. He was looking for one big payout, not realizing he was sitting on 3. Naomi thought about the night of the fire. About Trevor standing there, satisfied, thinking he'd destroyed something precious. He'd been trying to hurt her emotionally, maybe destroy evidence that could complicate the divorce. He'd had no idea he was burning documents worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So what happens now? Now we file claims against every company using these technologies. It'll take years to fully litigate, but we'll win. Your grandfather's documentation is airtight. These companies will settle rather than fight. And Trevor? Trevor gets nothing. These patents belong to your grandfather's estate, which passed to you after his death. They're not marital property. Trevor never had any claim to them. Naomi sat back, absorbing the information. Trevor had spent years stealing from her, planning to take half her company, burning her car to hurt her. And in doing so, he destroyed the only physical evidence of a fortune he never knew existed. A fortune that was now entirely, legally, solely hers. The irony was almost poetic. Over the next few months, Bernard and his team filed claims against 17 major tech companies. The legal papers made headlines. Tech giants sued for patent infringement, appeared in every major business publication. Some companies tried to fight. Most settled quickly once they saw the evidence. The settlements started coming in. $50 million from one company, $75 million from another, $120 million from a third. By the time the dust settled, Naomi's personal net worth had increased by $460 million. She was a billionaire. The news coverage was overwhelming. Forbes called her one of the youngest self-made female billionaires in tech. The Wall Street Journal ran a feature on the woman who turned betrayal into billions. Investors lined up to back her company's expansion. Her life changed overnight. Private security, financial advisors, investment bankers, people she'd never met wanting to be her friend. Through it all, Naomi stayed grounded. She upgraded her house but kept it reasonable. A nice penthouse downtown, not a mansion. She invested most of the money conservatively. She increased her charitable giving dramatically. And she started the foundation she'd been dreaming about. The Marcus Brooks Foundation, named after her grandfather, provided grants to young inventors and entrepreneurs from underrepresented backgrounds. Full funding for patent applications. Legal support for protecting intellectual property. Mentorship from successful business leaders. The foundation launched with a $50 million endowment. Applications flooded in immediately. Naomi hired a team to run it but stayed involved personally. She reviewed every major grant application. She met with the recipients. She attended their product launches and celebrated their successes. This was her grandfather's legacy, properly honored. Not a burned car in a driveway, but a living institution that would help hundreds of people create their own success stories. One day, about 6 months after the patent settlements, Naomi received a letter. It was from the prison where Trevor was incarcerated. She almost threw it away unread, but something made her open it. The handwriting was Trevor's, but messier than she remembered. Naomi, I heard about the patents, about the money. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need you to know. I'm sorry. Not about getting caught. About doing it at all. I was jealous. You were always smarter, more successful, more driven. I felt like I was drowning while you soared. I told myself I deserved something for standing in your shadow. But I was wrong. You didn't put me in your shadow. I put myself there by being too weak to build my own light. Burning that car was the stupidest thing I ever did. Not because of the patents, I didn't know about those. But because that car meant something to you and I destroyed it just to hurt you. That's who I had become. Someone who hurt people because I was hurting. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking you to respond. I just wanted you to know that I see now what I couldn't see then. You deserved better. You deserved everything good that's happening for you now. I hope you're happy. Trevor. Naomi read the letter twice, then filed it away in a drawer. She didn't respond. Didn't acknowledge it. Didn't tell anyone about it. Trevor's apology, sincere or not, didn't change anything. He'd made his choices. He'd faced the consequences. And she'd move forward without him. That weekend, Isaiah took her to a small art gallery opening. No press, no fanfare, just local artists and good wine. They walked through the exhibits, discussing the pieces, enjoying the simple pleasure of art for art's sake. How does it feel? Isaiah asked. Being one of the richest people in the city? Surreal. And a little bit lonely. Lonely how? People treat me differently now. Even old friends. They're careful about what they say, like they're intimidated. Or they suddenly need favors, loans, investments. It's like the money created a wall between me and everyone else. Not everyone. She looked at him. You've been the same since the day we met. That's because I liked you before the patents. Before the divorce. Before any of this. I liked the woman who gave that lecture on scalable systems and made complex algorithms sound like poetry. The money is just money. It's not who you are. Naomi felt tears prick her eyes. Thank you for seeing me. Not just what I have or what I've achieved. Me. Always. They left the gallery and walked through the city streets. It was a cool autumn evening, the kind of night that felt full of possibility. I've been thinking, Naomi said, about what happens next. I spent the last 2 years in survival mode, fighting Trevor, fighting for my company, fighting for justice. But that fight's over. So what do I do now? What do you want to do? I want to build something lasting. Something that matters beyond quarterly reports and profit margins. I want to create opportunities for people who didn't have the advantages I had. I want to honor my grandfather's legacy properly. The foundation. That's part of it. But I want more. I'm thinking about creating an innovation incubator. A physical space where inventors and entrepreneurs can work, with free access to equipment, legal support, mentorship, funding. Everything my grandfather didn't have but should have. Isaiah smiled. That sounds exactly right. They stopped at a bench overlooking the river. The city lights reflected on the water, creating patterns of gold and silver. Can I ask you something? Naomi said. Anything. Why me? You could date anyone. Why stick around through all the mess and drama? Isaiah was quiet for a moment. Because you're real. In a world full of people performing success and happiness, you're actually building them. You face hard things directly. You don't make excuses or play victim. You do the work. He turned to look at her. And because when I'm with you, I'm my best self. You challenge me. You inspire me. You make me want to be better. That's rare. That's worth everything. Naomi leaned against him, feeling safe for the first time in years. Not because he was protecting her, she could protect herself, but because she didn't have to. With Isaiah, she could just be. No armor. No performance. Just herself. I'm falling for you, she said quietly. I'm already there. They sat together as the city moved around them, two people finding something real in the aftermath of something terrible. Trevor had burned a car. In doing so, he destroyed evidence of a fortune, ruined his own life, and freed Naomi to become someone stronger than she'd ever been. The strongest steel, forged in the hottest fire. Her grandfather had been right all along. The civil trial against Trevor, separate from the criminal case, was scheduled for late October. Despite his criminal conviction and imprisonment, he'd filed a lawsuit claiming he was entitled to half of the patent money because the settlements had been reached while they were still legally married. It's a desperate Hail Mary, Diane explained. He has no case. But he's hoping for a sympathetic judge or a settlement just to make him go away. He's not getting a single dollar, Naomi said flatly. The trial attracted significant media attention. A convicted criminal suing his ex-wife for half of a fortune discovered after he tried to destroy evidence of it? The story was too compelling to ignore. Naomi sat in the courtroom every day, dressed immaculately, taking notes. Trevor was brought from prison each morning in handcuffs, dressed in an ill-fitting suit his mother had brought him. He looked terrible, thin, pale, defeated. But his eyes still burned with resentment whenever he looked at her. His new attorney, a public defender named James Chin, tried his best, but the case was unwinnable. He argued that Trevor had contributed to Naomi's success during their marriage, therefore he deserved a share of all marital gains, including the patents. Diane dismantled the argument methodically. Your Honor, the patents in question were filed by Marcus Brooks decades before Mrs. Brooks married Mr. Brooks. They passed to her through her grandfather's estate, which she inherited before the marriage. The patents were never marital property. Mr. Brooks had no involvement in their creation, their discovery, or their litigation. His only interaction with these patents was destroying the physical documents during the commission of a felony. She projected the fire inspector's report on a screen. Mr. Brooks committed arson specifically to harm Mrs. Brooks emotionally. He had no idea about the patent values. He wasn't trying to acquire marital assets, he was trying to destroy them. And now, having failed to profit from his crimes, he wants to be rewarded for his ignorance. The judge, a different judge than before, a man named Judge Anderson, listened impassively. When it was Trevor's turn to testify, things got worse. The prosecutor's questioning was brutal. Mr. Brooks, you stated you contributed to your wife's success. What specifically did you contribute? I supported her. Emotionally. I was there for her. While stealing $5 million from her company? That's a separate issue. Is it? You claim you supported her business, yet you systematically stole from it for 3 years. You claim you were a loving husband, yet you had an affair for 2 years. You claim you deserve half her assets, yet you committed multiple felonies against her. Which part of that demonstrates contribution, Mr. Brooks? Trevor's face reddened. She neglected me. She was never home. All she cared about was work. So your contribution was, what? Being available while she worked? That's worth $200 million. I gave her the best years of my life. The same years you spent stealing from her and sleeping with her employee? Diane stood. Objection. Your Honor, he's badgering the witness. I'll allow it, Judge Anderson said. The witness opened this door by claiming contribution. Continue. The questioning went on. Trevor contradicted himself repeatedly. He claimed he'd been an equal partner in building Naomi's business, but couldn't name a single client he'd brought in or deal he'd closed. He claimed the embezzlement was taking what was rightfully mine, then admitted he'd hidden the money in accounts Naomi didn't know about. When asked about the affair, he said he'd sought comfort elsewhere because Naomi was cold and distant. But texts between him and Brittany, introduced as evidence, showed they'd been plotting to leave Naomi and take her money long before any marital problems surfaced. By the end of his testimony, Trevor had destroyed his own case. But the most damaging testimony came from Brittany Henderson, brought from her prison via video conference. She'd been granted immunity for testifying truthfully. Ms. Henderson, the prosecutor began, how long did your affair with Trevor Brooks last? 3 years. And during that time, Did Mr. Brooks ever express love for his wife? No. He talked about her constantly but never lovingly. He called her controlling. He said she treated him like an employee. He said she flaunted her success to make him feel small. Did he ever say he wanted to work things out with her? Never. From the beginning, it was about how to leave her and take as much money as possible. He talked about community property loss. About how if he could stay married long enough, he'd be entitled to half of everything. Did he ever express regret for stealing from her company? Regret? No. He said it was his money too. That he deserved it for putting up with her. The judge interrupted. Ms. Henderson, are you saying Mr. Brooks married Mrs. Brooks with the intention of eventually divorcing her and taking half her assets? I don't know about when they got married. But for the 3 years I knew him, yes. That was always the plan. The courtroom was silent. Even Trevor's attorney looked shocked. No further questions, the prosecutor said. When it was Naomi's turn to testify, she was calm and factual. She detailed the timeline of her grandfather's estate, the inheritance of the patents, the discovery of their value. She explained how the patents had never been part of the marital estate, how Trevor had never had any claim to them. Mrs. Brooks, Trevor's attorney asked during cross-examination, isn't it true that your husband supported your career during your marriage? No. No? He worked for your company. He worked in a position I created for him at a salary far above what his qualifications warranted, and used that position to steal from me. That's not support. That's exploitation. But he was there for you emotionally. He was having an affair for more than half our marriage. He was planning to divorce me and take my assets. He burned my most precious possession to hurt me. Where in any of that is emotional support? The attorney had no response. Judge Anderson asked if Naomi wanted to address the court directly. She stood. Your Honor, this case is simple. My ex-husband is trying to profit from patents he had nothing to do with, which he only knows about because he committed arson trying to destroy them. He's asking to be rewarded for his ignorance and his criminal behavior. That's not how justice works. These patents are my grandfather's legacy, passed to me legally and completely outside of my marriage. Trevor has no claim to them, moral or legal. The judge nodded. I'll have a decision in 48 hours. 2 days later, Judge Anderson delivered his ruling from the bench. This is one of the most straightforward cases I've seen made unnecessarily complicated by a frivolous lawsuit. The patents in question are separate property, inherited before marriage. Mr. Brooks had no involvement in their creation, discovery, or commercialization. His only interaction was destroying physical copies during the commission of a felony. He looked at Trevor sternly. Mr. Brooks, you don't get to profit from your crimes. You don't get to claim contribution to a marriage you spent years sabotaging. You don't get to destroy something and then demand payment for what you destroyed. Your Honor, Trevor started. I'm not finished. This lawsuit is dismissed with prejudice, meaning you cannot refile it. Mrs. Brooks is awarded all attorney's fees and costs related to this case. Additionally, I'm recommending to your parole board that this lawsuit be considered evidence of continued manipulative behavior and that your eventual parole be denied. Trevor's face went white. You can't do that. I just did. You had a chance to serve your sentence quietly and maybe rebuild some small portion of your life when you got out. Instead, you chose to harass your victim from prison. Actions have consequences, Mr. Brooks. Court is adjourned. As Trevor was led away, shouting protests, Naomi felt a weight lift from her shoulders. This was truly finally over. No more legal battles. No more Trevor trying to take what wasn't his. Outside the courthouse, reporters crowded around her. Mrs. Brooks, how does it feel to win? It feels like justice. That's all this ever was about, justice. Do you have any message for other women facing similar situations? Yes. Don't be intimidated by legal threats from people who've wronged you. If you have truth on your side, stand firm. Hire good lawyers. Keep records. And don't let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting what's yours. What's next for you? I'm focused on my foundation and my company. I'm building things that matter. That's where my energy goes now, not backward at mistakes I can't change, but forward to possibilities I can create. That night, Naomi hosted a small celebration at her penthouse. Just her closest friends and advisors, Rochelle, Diane, Bernard, Cynthia, and Isaiah. They ordered too much food and drank expensive wine and toasted to victories and new beginnings. To Naomi, Rochelle said, raising her glass. Who faced hell and walked out owning it. To justice, Diane added. To family legacies, Bernard said, looking emotional. Your grandfather would be so proud. To the future, Isaiah said, catching Naomi's eye. They clinked glasses and Naomi felt something she hadn't felt in years. Complete peace. No pending legal battles. No threats. No fear. Just her life, her choices, her future. Later, as everyone was leaving, Isaiah lingered. Walk you to your balcony? They stood outside looking at the city lights. The November air was cold but clear. Everything felt sharp and real and full of promise. Thank you, Naomi said, for being here through all of this. You didn't sign up for this mess. I signed up for you. The mess came with it, but so did everything good. I'd make the same choice 100 times. She turned to face him. I think I'm ready. Ready for what? To stop calling this casual. To stop protecting myself from getting hurt again. To let someone in completely. Isaiah smiled. I've been ready. I was just waiting for you. He kissed her and Naomi felt something click into place. Not urgency or desperation or neediness. Just rightness. Like finding something she didn't know she'd been searching for. When they pulled apart, he said, I need to tell you something. The university offered me a position in Singapore. 6 months, developing their new computer science program. Naomi's heart sank. When? Starting in January. But here's the thing, I can say no. I can stay. If you need me to stay. You shouldn't turn down opportunities for me. Then come with me. 6 months in Singapore. You can run your company remotely. The foundation is established. Everything's stable. When was the last time you took a break and just lived? Naomi thought about it. About spending the last decade building and fighting and proving herself. About the treadmill of constant work she'd been on since college. I've never taken more than a week off. Then it's time. What do you say? 6 months in a new place, with someone who loves you, with no ex-husbands or legal battles or media attention. Just life. Naomi looked out at the city she'd conquered. At the business empire she'd built. At the foundation carrying her grandfather's name. All of it would be here when she got back. It was stable, secure, successful. Maybe it was time to stop running on adrenaline and start actually living. Yes, she said. Let's go to Singapore. Isaiah pulled her close, and they stood together on the balcony, planning a future that had nothing to do with past betrayals and everything to do with present joy. Behind them, through the penthouse windows, the celebration continued. Her friends laughing, her life rebuilt, her success undeniable. Trevor was in prison, his lawsuit dismissed, his future bleak. Brittany was in prison, her career destroyed, her choices haunting her. And Naomi was here. Free. Happy. Loved. Victorious. Sometimes the best revenge wasn't revenge at all. It was building a life so good that the people who tried to destroy you became irrelevant to it. Trevor had lit a fire to burn her down. Instead, he'd lit her way forward. 1 year after the trial, Naomi stood in the lobby of a gleaming new building in the tech district. Above the entrance, carved in steel letters, were the words, Brooks Innovation Center, where legacy meets future. The innovation incubator she'd dreamed about was real. 50,000 square feet of workspace, laboratories, conference rooms, and maker spaces. Top-of-the-line equipment. Legal support services. Business mentorship. And best of all, free to anyone accepted into the program. The selection committee had reviewed 3,000 applications for the first cohort. They'd accepted 50 innovators and entrepreneurs. Women and men from underrepresented backgrounds, people with brilliant ideas but no resources to develop them, inventors who just needed a chance. Today was opening day. Naomi walked through the building one last time before the ceremony. She saw young engineers testing prototypes. Software developers coding on donated computers. A woman explaining her sustainable energy invention to a patent attorney. A team of college dropouts building an app that could change healthcare access. This was her grandfather's legacy, properly honored. This was 5 years of her life stolen by Trevor, reclaimed and turned into something meaningful. Rochelle found her on the second floor, watching a group of entrepreneurs in a business planning workshop. It's time. Everyone's waiting. The lobby was packed with press, donors, and the 50 program participants. Isaiah stood in the front row, smiling at her. He'd come back from Singapore 2 months ago, and they'd officially moved in together. Something Naomi had never thought she'd be ready for again. But Isaiah wasn't Trevor. He celebrated her successes instead of resenting them. He built his own career instead of stealing from hers. He loved her at her strongest, not just when she was vulnerable. Naomi stepped to the podium. The crowd quieted. My grandfather, Marcus Brooks, was a brilliant inventor. He created technologies that changed the world, but he never got to see the full impact of his work. He died thinking his inventions were forgotten, his patents worthless, his legacy unclear. She paused, looking around the room at all the young faces full of hope and ambition. 5 years ago, someone tried to destroy evidence of my grandfather's work. They burned a car that contained his journals, his documentation, his life's work in physical form. They thought they were hurting me. They thought they were taking something irreplaceable. But what they actually did was force me to dig deeper, to find backup documentation, to discover patents I didn't know existed, to uncover a legacy worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And in doing so, they gave me the resources to build this. She gestured to the building around them. The Brooks Innovation Center exists because someone tried to destroy my grandfather's legacy and failed. It exists because betrayal taught me the value of resilience. It exists because I learned that the worst thing that happens to you doesn't have to define you, sometimes it propels you. To the 50 innovators we've accepted into this program, your ideas matter. Your dreams matter. You matter. We're here to support you, fund you, connect you with resources, and help you build something lasting. Not because you're charity cases, but because you're exactly what this world needs: fresh perspectives, brilliant minds, and the courage to create something new. Welcome to the Brooks Innovation Center. Let's build the future together. The applause was thunderous. Participants rushed forward to thank her, share their stories, express their gratitude. Naomi hugged strangers and listened to dreams and felt, for the first time in years, completely at peace with her path. That evening, she and Isaiah had dinner at a quiet restaurant overlooking the river. They talked about the opening, about the participants' ideas, about the future of the center. Your grandfather would be proud, Isaiah said. Not just of the center, but of who you've become through all of this. I'm not the same person I was before Trevor. No, you're stronger, more certain of yourself, less willing to compromise your values for comfort. Is that a good thing? Sometimes I worry I'm too hard now, too defensive. Isaiah reached across the table and took her hand. You're not hard. You're boundaried. There's a difference. You know what you will and won't accept. That's not being hard, that's being healthy. Naomi smiled. How did I get so lucky to find you? You didn't find me. We found each other. At the right time, when we were both ready for something real. Do you ever think about what would have happened if I'd met you before Trevor? Sometimes. But I don't think it would have worked. You weren't ready then. You needed to go through everything you went through to become the woman I fell in love with. It was a sobering thought, but probably true. The Naomi who'd married Trevor had been naive, trusting, and willing to overlook red flags. The Naomi sitting here now knew her worth, trusted her instincts, and wouldn't settle for anything less than genuine partnership. Trevor had tried to break her. Instead, he'd refined her into someone better. The next morning, Naomi received an unexpected email. It was from Trevor's mother, Patricia. Dear Naomi, I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from. I don't blame you. My son did terrible things and I was wrong to defend him for as long as I did. I let my love for him blind me to the truth about who he'd become. I wanted you to know that I've visited him in prison several times. He's not the same person. Prison has broken something in him, or maybe revealed what was always broken. He talks about you constantly. Not with anger anymore, but with regret. He says he wasted the best thing. I'm not writing to ask you to forgive him. I'm writing to thank you. Because the Brooks Innovation Center just accepted my nephew, my sister's son, who's been working on a medical device invention for 3 years with no resources. He got in because of you. Because you turned tragedy into opportunity. You're a better person than my son deserved. I'm sorry for how we treated you during the divorce. I'm sorry we believed his lies. And I'm grateful that despite everything, you're using your resources to help people. I hope you're happy. Patricia. Naomi read the email twice, then filed it away without responding. Patricia's apology was nice, but it didn't change anything. Some wounds healed, but the scars remained. She was happy though. Genuinely, deeply happy in a way she'd never been during her marriage. The happiness came from within now, not from someone else's approval or presence. It came from building things that mattered, from genuine relationships, from knowing herself completely. Over the next few months, the Innovation Center thrived. 3 participants successfully patented their inventions. 5 secured major funding for their startups. The program became a model that other cities wanted to replicate. Brooks Digital Solutions expanded internationally, opening offices in Singapore and London. Naomi split her time between locations, managing the growth while maintaining her involvement with the foundation and the Innovation Center. And through it all, Isaiah was there. Not as a shadow or an accessory, but as an equal partner building his own successful career while supporting hers. They traveled together, worked on projects together, built a life together. One evening, exactly 2 years after Trevor's sentencing, Naomi and Isaiah attended a tech industry gala. It was the same event where Naomi had given a keynote speech while dealing with Trevor's smear campaign years ago. This time, she walked in with confidence, wearing a stunning silver gown, Isaiah at her side. The room was full of people who knew her story. Everyone in tech knew about the embezzlement, the patents, the innovation center. But they didn't whisper about the scandal anymore. They talked about her success. There's Naomi Brooks, the Billionaire founder. She started that incredible innovation program. Her company just landed a contract with the EU. The narrative had shifted completely. She wasn't Trevor's victim. She was Naomi Brooks, tech leader and philanthropist. During the cocktail hour, an older woman approached her. She introduced herself as Margaret Chin, CEO of a major technology company. Mrs. Brooks, I wanted to tell you that your story inspired me to start a similar program at my company. We're funding women-led startups in developing countries. Your innovation center showed me it was possible. That's wonderful, Naomi said. The more programs like this, the better. I also wanted to say, I went through something similar 20 years ago. Different details, same betrayal. And watching how you handled it with such grace and strength, it helped me process my own experience. So thank you. After Margaret walked away, Isaiah squeezed Naomi's hand. You're not just building buildings and programs. You're creating ripples. Other people see what you did and think, I can survive too. I can thrive too. Naomi felt tears prick her eyes. She'd never thought about it that way. She'd been so focused on moving forward that she hadn't realized she was lighting a path for others. That night, lying in bed in their shared home, Naomi thought about the journey. From the flames in her driveway to standing in a room of tech leaders who respected her. From discovering betrayal to building genuine love. From losing her grandfather's car to honoring his entire legacy. Isaiah? She whispered into the darkness. Oh, I'm happy. Really truly happy. And that's not something I ever thought I'd feel again after everything with Trevor. He pulled her closer. You deserve every bit of happiness you have. You fought for it. You earned it. I used to think the fire was the worst thing that ever happened to me. But in a weird way it was the best. It burned away everything fake in my life. Everything that wasn't serving me. And what was left was real. Like Phoenix from the ashes, Isaiah murmured. Exactly like that. She drifted off to sleep feeling grateful. Not grateful for Trevor's betrayal, that was still terrible, still painful when she let herself think about it. But grateful for what she'd built from the ashes. Trevor was still in prison, serving his sentence. Brittany had been released after serving her time and immediately left the state, trying to rebuild a life somewhere no one knew her story. And Naomi was here. Living in a beautiful home with someone who loved her genuinely. Running a successful international company. Operating a foundation that changed lives. Building programs that inspired others. She'd taken the worst betrayal of her life and turned it into fuel for the best chapter of her life. The car Trevor burned had contained her grandfather's journals. But it turned out her grandfather's real legacy wasn't in those journals. It was in the resilience he'd taught her. The work ethic he'd modeled. The belief that setbacks were just data points on the path to success. The strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire. Her grandfather had said that dozens of times while she was growing up. Now finally she understood what he meant. Trevor had lit the fire. But she'd emerged as steel. Unbreakable. Refined. Stronger than ever. 5 years after the fire, Naomi stood in front of a packed auditorium at a major tech conference. The screen behind her displayed the title of her keynote speech, Building Legacy, How Adversity Creates Innovation. She was 40 years old now. The CEO of a company valued at $300 million. The founder of a foundation that had helped launch 200 successful startups. The creator of 5 innovation centers across the country. And the author of a book that had just hit the New York Times bestseller list. The book was called Refined by Fire, a memoir of betrayal, patents, and building something beautiful. It told her story honestly, the marriage, the betrayal, the legal battles, and the rebuilding. But it wasn't a revenge story. It was a story about resilience, about turning pain into purpose. Trevor was mentioned in the book, but not by name. Just as a former spouse who made choices that led to consequences. She'd given him no power, no platform, no martyrdom. He was just a chapter, not the whole story. The real story was what came after. Naomi looked out at the audience, entrepreneurs, innovators, dreamers, and began her speech. 5 years ago, someone burned my car. Inside that car were documents worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The person who lit that fire had no idea what they were destroying. They just wanted to hurt me. They wanted to break me. She paused, letting the audience absorb that. Today, I'm a billionaire. I run a global company. I operate a foundation that's changed hundreds of lives. I'm in a relationship with someone who genuinely loves and supports me. And I'm happier than I've ever been. So here's my question. Did that person break me, or did they break me open? She advanced to the next slide, showing a photo of the Innovation Center's first graduating class. These are 50 people who had brilliant ideas but no resources. The funding for their program came from patents discovered because someone tried to destroy the evidence of them. Their success exists because someone else's betrayal freed up resources I didn't know I had. Another slide, a graph showing her company's growth over 5 years. This is my company's trajectory. Notice the sharp upward trend starting 5 years ago? That's what happens when you stop carrying dead weight. When you stop making excuses for people who aren't pulling their share. When you stop trying to save a partnership that's actively draining you. She looked directly at the audience. Here's what I learned from having my life burned down. You can't build something new while clinging to what's broken. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you is actually life clearing space for something better. But, and this is crucial, that only works if you do the work. She advanced through slides showing her legal battles, her company's challenges, her rebuilding process. I didn't just survive betrayal and magically end up successful. I documented evidence. I hired good lawyers. I protected my assets. I built support systems. I kept working when I wanted to give up. I showed up professionally when I felt broken personally. I did the work of holding someone accountable for their actions. Resilience isn't passive. It's active. Strategic. It's choosing to build something good from bad circumstances instead of letting those circumstances define you. She showed photos from the Innovation Center, from her foundation, from her travels with Isaiah, from moments of genuine joy. This is what's possible when you refuse to let betrayal win. When you take the energy you'd spend on revenge and redirect it toward building something meaningful. When you let go of proving someone wrong and focus on proving yourself right. The final slide was a photo of her grandfather working on the Mercedes, young Naomi sitting next to him, watching. My grandfather used to tell me, the strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire. I didn't really understand that until someone lit my life on fire and I had to decide what kind of steel I'd become. I chose to become unbreakable. Not hardened or bitter, but refined. Strong enough to build big things. Flexible enough to adapt. Valuable enough that the fire only increased my worth. She closed her laptop and looked at the audience. Whatever fire you're facing right now, betrayal, failure, loss, ask yourself, is this breaking me or breaking me open? Is this an ending, or is this clearing space for something I couldn't see before? The choice is yours. You can stay in the ashes or rise from them. I chose to rise. I hope you do too. The applause was thunderous. Standing ovation. People with tears in their eyes. Naomi stood on that stage and felt complete. After the speech, dozens of people approached her with their stories. Women who'd left abusive marriages. Entrepreneurs who'd survived business betrayals. People who'd lost everything and rebuilt. Your story gave me courage, one woman said. I filed for divorce last week. Finally. Your book helped me stop blaming myself, said another. I thought my ex's cheating was my fault. Your story showed me that's not how it works. An older man shook her hand. I'm an investor. Because of your story, I'm funding a program for formerly incarcerated entrepreneurs. People deserve second chances to build legitimate success. Naomi listened to every story, hugged strangers, and felt humbled by the impact her willingness to share had created. That evening, she and Isaiah had dinner at a restaurant on the waterfront. They watched the sunset paint the sky in shades of orange and gold. How do you feel? Isaiah asked. Now that the book is out, the story is public, everything's been said? Lighter. Like I finally put it all down. For years I was carrying this weight, the betrayal, the anger, the need to prove something. And now, I don't need to prove anything anymore. It's done. I won. Not against Trevor specifically, but against the belief that betrayal defines you. What's next then? You've built the company, started the foundation, written the book. What does Naomi Brooks do when she's accomplished everything on her list? She smiled. Build a new list. There's always more to do, more to create, more to improve. But maybe with less urgency. Maybe with more joy. Speaking of joy, Isaiah said, reaching into his pocket. I have something for you. He pulled out a small box. Naomi's heart skipped. "Before you panic," he said with a smile, "this isn't a ring. Not yet, anyway. We've only been together 3 years. I'm patient." He opened the box. Inside was a key. "It's the key to a house. Our house if you want it. I know you bought your penthouse and love it. But I found this place outside the city, beautiful property, huge workshop space, room to grow. I was thinking it could be our someday house. A place to build a future when we're ready." Naomi looked at the key, then at Isaiah. 3 years ago, a romantic gesture like this would have terrified her. Would have felt like someone trying to trap her, control her, take something from her. But Isaiah wasn't Trevor. This wasn't a trap. It was an invitation to build something together at her pace when she was ready. "Can we go see it? Right now? It's getting dark." "Right now." They drove 30 minutes outside the city to a beautiful property on 5 acres. The house was modern but warm, with huge windows and high ceilings. The workshop space Isaiah mentioned was actually a converted barn, perfect for tinkering, for projects, for building things with your hands. "My grandfather would have loved this," Naomi said, walking through the space. "I know. That's why I bought it." She turned to face him. "You bought it?" "Isaiah. I bought it for us. For our future. No pressure on timing. It's ours whenever we're ready to move in. A year, 5 years, 10 years. There's no rush." Naomi felt tears on her cheeks. "You bought me a workshop. I bought us a home. The workshop's just a bonus." She kissed him, feeling gratitude and love and hope for the future. With Trevor, she'd always felt like she was giving more, loving more, building more. With Isaiah, it was balanced. He gave as much as she did. He built alongside her instead of off her. This was what real partnership looked like. They sat on the porch of their future house, watching stars appear in the darkening sky. "I want to tell you something," Naomi said. "About Trevor. Okay? I don't hate him anymore. I did for a long time. But now, I just feel nothing. He's a person who made terrible choices and suffered appropriate consequences. He's not my villain. He's not my victim. He's just someone I used to know. That's growth. I heard he's up for parole next year. Early release for good behavior. How do you feel about that?" "Indifferent. He can be released or not. It doesn't affect my life anymore. I've built something so far removed from anything involving him that he's just not relevant." That's the ultimate victory, isn't it? Not that he suffered, but that you thrive to the point where his suffering doesn't even register. Exactly. They sat in comfortable silence, two people who'd found each other at the right time in the right way. Naomi thought about the journey. About standing in her driveway 5 years ago, watching her grandfather's car burn, feeling her life fall apart. About discovering the betrayal, the theft, the lies. About fighting through legal battles and smear campaigns and threats. And about what came after. The patents. The foundation. The innovation center. The book. The genuine love she'd found with Isaiah. The peace she'd built from chaos. Trevor had tried to destroy her most precious possession and ended up freeing her to discover she was more valuable than any possession. He tried to break her and ended up revealing just how unbreakable she was. If she could go back and prevent the fire, would she? The old Naomi would have said yes without hesitation. The car, the marriage, the comfort of not knowing about Trevor's betrayal, all of it seemed preferable to the pain she'd endured. But the new Naomi? She wasn't sure. Because preventing the fire meant preventing everything that came after. It meant staying in a broken marriage with a man who was stealing from her. It meant never discovering the patents. Never starting the foundation. Never meeting Isaiah. Never becoming this version of herself. "Penny for your thoughts," Isaiah said. "I'm thinking about time machines. And whether I'd use one if I could. And I think I'd leave the past alone. Even the painful parts. Because they led to this." She gestured at the house, at him, at the future spreading out before them like an open road. "This is pretty good," Isaiah agreed. "This is everything." 6 months later, on the anniversary of the fire, Naomi hosted a celebration. Not a somber remembrance, but an actual celebration of how far she'd come. The Brooks Innovation Center's second cohort was graduating. 50 more entrepreneurs ready to launch their dreams into the world. The foundation had just announced a new partnership with 3 universities to fund research programs. Her company had been named one of the best places to work in tech. And she and Isaiah were moving into their house. At the celebration, Rochelle gave a toast. 5 years ago, we stood in a parking lot watching evidence burn. Today, we're standing in a building that houses hope. That's not luck. That's Naomi. Bernard Winters spoke next. Your grandfather would be immensely proud. Not just of your success but of your character. You honored his legacy by living his values. Then Isaiah stood. I don't have prepared remarks. I just want to say, Naomi Brooks is the strongest person I've ever met. Not because she survived bad things but because she refused to let bad things define her. She turned pain into purpose, betrayal into breakthrough, and loss into legacy. I'm honored to build a life with her. Naomi stood to thank everyone, looking around at the faces of people who'd supported her, believed in her, stood by her. 5 years ago, someone tried to take everything from me. My past, my present, my future. They failed. But more importantly, I won. Not by destroying them but by building something they could never touch. A life based on my values, my work, my choices. I'm not here today despite what happened to me. I'm here because of it. Because adversity revealed what I was made of. Because betrayal taught me the value of genuine partnership. Because loss showed me what really matters. She raised her glass. To everyone here who's faced their own fire and chose to rise. To second chapters and new beginnings. To building something beautiful from broken pieces. To legacy, to love, and to never letting anyone dim your light. They drank, they celebrated, they looked forward instead of back. Later, after everyone left, Naomi walked through the Innovation Center alone. She thought about her grandfather working in his garage, building the Mercedes that would eventually burn. She thought about young Naomi sitting next to him, learning about resilience and innovation. I did it, Grandpa, she whispered to the empty room. I took everything you taught me and built something lasting. Your legacy isn't just in patents and money. It's in every person who walks through these doors and finds their opportunity. She felt peace wash over her. Complete, total peace. The next morning, Naomi woke up in her new house with Isaiah beside her. Sunlight streamed through the windows. Birds sang outside. The workshop waited for projects. The rooms waited to be filled with life. The future waited to be built. She thought about Trevor in prison, probably waking up to the sounds of cell doors and corrections officers. She thought about Brittany, living somewhere under a different name, trying to escape her past. She thought about all the energy she could spend thinking about them, feeling angry, wanting revenge. Then she let those thoughts go. They had no power here. They had no place in her life. Instead, she thought about the day ahead. A meeting with investors about expanding to Asia. A lunch with 3 of her Innovation Center graduates who were launching a startup. Dinner with Isaiah and planning their first real vacation together. 2 weeks in New Zealand with no work, no obligations, just living. She thought about her book helping people she'd never meet. About her foundation changing lives she'd never see. About ripples of good spreading out from the worst moment of her life. Trevor had burned her car 5 years ago. In doing so, he burned down his own life, freed her from a toxic marriage, and inadvertently funded the creation of something that would outlast them both. The irony was poetic. The justice was perfect. And Naomi? She was happy. Genuinely, deeply, permanently happy. Not because revenge had been served, though justice had been important. Not because she'd gotten rich, though the money enabled good work. But because she'd discovered who she really was when everything was stripped away. And she'd chosen to become someone worth being. The strongest steel, forged in the hottest fire. Her grandfather had been right all along. As Naomi got up to start her day, she looked back at the bed where Isaiah still slept peacefully. She looked around at their new home, at the life they were building together, at the possibilities stretching endlessly forward. Trevor had tried to burn her past. Instead, he